What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name is Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I always remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as tradition goes around here, the first thing that we always do is to go check out to see who are the first members of the Camera Junkie crew who are here in chat before we get started. All right, so my shirt's off a little bit, so let's adjust that. Not looking too crazy. I always put on a new shirt. I almost feel like what is it, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? You know, always changing shirts for the live stream. All right. You know what? Let me do this in front of the mirror. Mirrors are way more effective than live streams for that type of thing. All right. So right off the bat, we have Parker Jennings in the house saying hello to everyone. And we also have Mr. Moderator, Paul Duncan, saying greetings. And it looks like that's it for right now. So we'll wait for the rest to trickle in. But you guys are going to get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes here, because I noticed that a couple of my lights in my setup, that one back there and the one up there, or wait, that one up there, a little dot, they're dying. So we're going to go a little bit behind the scenes and change the batteries on those. This literally just turned off because they're literally dying. They take 3 AAA batteries, but they've lasted me for a while, so it seems to be worth it. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, you know what? Not that one. That one, right? Yeah, as you can see. Got the overhead. Go ahead and grab some more batteries to replace those. And it looks like I had exactly 6 batteries to replace it with. So that is going back, excuse me, into the Amazon cart. Because those were my last 6 AAAs. And knowing Aiden, he's going to ask me for a toy that requires AAAs tomorrow, if not tonight. All right. And with that, can we turn it on? Okay. But it turns on onto the RGB, right? Red, green, blue. Yep. But we have this little remote control that if we press on, we should be able to get the color that we want. Yes. The magentas. There we go. All right. And then check this out. I printed this out of clear or transparent. I don't remember if this was TPU or PLA, right? But I just put this above one of these and it gets completely lit up. So that's how I have that set up there. Let's go ahead and put that back. And this stuff that I always forget to do. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button. It's highly appreciated. Much better. Yes, I like that a lot. Off, on. Now, the one behind the little camera right there on the shelf, man, that little like transparent crystal thing that I put on top of it, it makes such a huge difference. It shoots light in all different directions and almost looks like a little flower up on that shelf behind that camera. And FYI, it's a 3D printed camera, so it's there just for aesthetics. But to get into today's subject at hand, today we're going to be testing out the new ECM-B10. Now, of those of you who are familiar, I'm a camera junkie, but my camera choice, or the brand camera of choice that I use for the majority of my stuff, is Sony, because of the awesomeness of their autofocus, great photography, and a lot of convenient factors. So one of them is these built-in microphones. Now they have another one. It's called the ECM-B10, I believe, and it's basically the same exact setup, except if I remove this part, this top part, which carries the microphone capsules, is bigger. Now this one has 4. I believe the other one is extended a little bit more and has 6. But each one of these little circles or holes right on top is actually a microphone capsule, which is something of Sony's technology, which I absolutely love. Now, if you owned any of their ZV line of cameras, you might be familiar with something similar to this. They all have this little fuzzy, like a microphone wind muffs, similar to what you're seeing here, right? But those are built in because the ZV line of cameras actually has 3 microphone capsules built into the top of each one. And they have it in a like triangular array, right? And what this does is that it allows tracking of audio from multiple directions. So actually, you know what? Let's go to the overhead, see if I could explain this. Boop. Right, that's not the overhead, that is. All right, so I'm gonna use this. I just thought of it right now. These are my body caps, right? But let's just say that these are the microphone capsules, right? Literally just on top of this microphone that I just mentioned. Well, in the ZV line, right? What Sony does is that they put them in a triangular array like this. And let's say this is the front of the camera, right? The main one here is directed closest to the subject that you're recording, right? And what these do is that they're picking up ambient noise, right? So they're able to triangulate, right? They can tell the difference between this microphones and this one and triangulate the sound coming from the front of the camera. Because once it gets picked up by this microphone, it then takes a microscopic delay to hit these microphones, and once it recognizes the sound that is coming from this direction, it tends to heighten or isolate the audio coming from the front microphone. So it's almost using these 2 rear microphones to reference the other audio so that it knows what to remove from the audio so that you can get better sound out of the front. And that's like an amazing piece of tech, just using a triangular array that Sony uses on their ZV line of cameras. And that's something that's being used similarly here with the ECM-B10 and the ECM-B1M, which are their Sony's built-in microphones. Now, it has its own little shock mount, which is pretty impressive. So if I'm just gonna hold it and just like tilting it, you can see it almost like starts tilting with gravity, because it's very sturdy but yet very loose, so that it doesn't like click onto things, but also doesn't transmit any bumps or movements of audio from the microphone or from the body of the camera onto the microphone, so that it then kind of ruins your mix. But actually, let's go back to it again. This is the wrong button. I keep hitting the wrong button today. Let's go to the back of it, right? Because there's a lot of controls. Actually, you know what? Let's zoom in here if I can. Hit the manual focus ring. But there's a lot of options here. So what we're dealing with is that it actually connects through the multimedia interface, right? The MI connection. As you can see, there's a lot of little microscopic pins there, connections. And this is how you're getting power to this microphone. And also, hold on. All right, there we go. Should use autofocus now. There we go. I kind of put it into manual, my bad. Okay, so what this does is that it gives you a variety of different options to connect it. Because of the MI multimedia interface, there's no need for external batteries when you use it with Sony cameras, and obviously it's a Sony only microphone. So it was something that I was a little hesitant to buy, but it was something that I wanted to get my hands on for a while now. FYI, it just went on sale from like $250 to $200, so I was able to pick it up for that price, and making, you know, 5 easy payments of like $40 to get my hands on this. But the reason why is because I recently got the Sony A7 C Mark II, and it's a very compact and very functional setup. But this is something that I can use with that to keep it very compact as a vlog setup, but at the same time also I'm able to use it with my other cameras, all that carry the multimedia interface shoe. Let's brighten that up a bit as well, right? So there's a lot of options in the back. Now you have 3 different microphones with this array. So the way that they've set up these 4 microphones, they work in the same similar method that I had mentioned to you about the triangle setup here, right? It recognizes that this is the front facing microphone, and because of the distance between each capsule, you're able to determine what's in front, what's behind, and what's around. And because of this technology, Sony is able to give you 3 different microphones built into this one, right? Now, the first one is what you would say like super cardioid, right? This is like very front focused, which is the one that's sit all the way to the top, and it looks like looking like at a person from the top view, so to speak, with a big nose, right? So that's the one that you can see is projecting. It almost looks like a little arrowhead, right? Because it's showing you that it's kind of blocking out all of the other microphones and then just kind of focusing on the main front capsule, right? So if you were to place this little image directly above this array here, then you would kind of understand what you're going to be getting out of this audio. So it's going to be rejecting basically everything from these 3 and focusing on what's directly in front of it. That's the super cardioid, right? The next step down is the cardioid, which is the middle pattern, which is still more front focused, right? But it's still picking up a little bit more from the sides, right? So once again, if we were to just take that image and kind of just place it on top here, it's going to give you like the pickup pattern, right? And if you were to see, it almost looks like an upside down heart, right? A little thing right there. So that's why it's called the cardioid, like a heart. So the cardioid pattern, still more front focus, right? But still picking up a little bit more of the ambient sounds from your environment. And then the last one, which is the complete circle, is just basically letting you know it's picking up omnidirectional, right? So it's picking up from the front and the back. And this is something that you might want to use if you're actually recording more run and gun type of videography, where you might be interviewing somebody on the run, right? And just on the fly, put the camera in their face and just start recording. This might be the best option for you, because you might do a quick impromptu type of you know, like interview, right, where you're behind the camera, and this is going to give you the option to record your sound as clear as the person in front. And the sides, you might have to do some processing in post-production, but you'll be able to get the high quality audio from the front, from the back, and the sides using the omnidirectional option here. So 3 microphones in one right there, but then you even have more features, right? Now you have the filter features here, which were very surprising because normally I have that off, and normally your options are high cut and low cut, right? Which is low cut is low rumbling sounds in microphones under like 3 kilohertz, right? Anything in that, you know, low frequency, you're going to cut that out. Sounds from like, you know, air conditionings and a variety of different things that you might find outdoors as well. You would have that low cut, which is the LC, which we see there, right? Then we usually have a high cut, which is for higher frequencies, and you are doing the same thing where you're removing those high frequencies so that you don't like kind of screech people's ears, kind of that, you know, nails on the chalkboard. And that's what you would call the high pass filter. So you're removing the higher range of frequency, and I believe that's like 1800 kilohertz and above, right? Which is the range of where audio is gonna kind of sit well for general purposes in recording and reproduction in audio. So I didn't see the high cut, and I see this NC, right? And the NC filter, I was like, NC, like no cut? And I go, no cut doesn't mean no cut, right? So I had to actually, you know, RTFM, right? Read the effing manual. So I went in and I looked up what that actually stood for, and this is a noise cut. So this is not like a standard high frequency or low frequency. This is kind of a digital noise reduction built in. So it's got the low cut for those rumblings, but then it also has a NC, which is a noise cut. And this is just general sounds, bangs, you know, things that could spike, you understand, or background noises. This is already built to take that out directly from the microphone, which I found very interesting, and I want to put more to the test, right? Then the ATT is basically your levels of what's the word? Man, I'm running a blank on it. Your decibel levels, right? The zero pad, right, means that you're basically going to be getting all of the audio as hot or as loud as it's coming in directly into your recording. This might tend to be a little bit harsh to listen to, right? And it starts to clip just a bit. Once again, you might need to do audio processing in your post-production work more if you're leaving it at the 0 dB. I like to either have it at the 10, and depending on the environment, maybe even 20, right, decibels. And what that does is that it's just taking all of your audio and bringing it down 10, or if not 20 decibels, your choice, and it's recording it at that low register so that you don't get any peaking of audio, right? And you don't want audio to clip, because once it gets past the range of the capsules of the microphone, then it becomes distorted and very painful, right? You can have bad video, but bad audio is unwatchable. And I say that all the time. The reason why is because if you have bad audio that's constantly peaking, it's almost a physical pain that you're causing to your audience, to your viewers. So that will take someone completely out of your video or your production, whatever it is, right away, comparative to having an image that doesn't look good, right? The Blair Witch movie, right? The Blair Witch Project, that showed in millions and millions of theaters all over the world. But if it would have had bad audio, it would have been unwatchable. The audio is good, and you're able to, you know, stay in the story, and even with not best footage, right, and camcorder style documentary you know, filmmaking, then you would still be able to create a good, you know, end product, because that's how important audio is. But now we still have some other options. Right now we have a wheel right here to the bottom left hand corner. Well, that's your manual control. As you can see, your audio levels, you have either two options. You have auto or manual. Manual, you clip onto it, and now this wheel is at your discretion, right? That amount of pad that you're getting here is being bypassed completely, and now you have complete control of how much frequency, right, or how sensitive your microphones are going to be recorded. So if you feel that the pads are not enough, right, and that your environment is still yet that loud that you need it to actually like bring it down, you're able to manually control it here with this knob once it's set to manual. Now, I've done that and it works, right, because you're in control, but even sometimes there's still like a spike in, you know, like maybe something fell in the background, or you know, like a loud vehicle driving by, a variety of different things that could be happening. And what I found is that even though manual is great, the auto on these microphones from Sony, whether it's the auto feature built into some of their new cameras or the ones built into these devices, are actually like next level good. Like, I've been super impressed with it controlling peaking, you know, like and mitigating that, and also bringing in things that are very low level. So it's not 32-bit float, which is giving you basically the entire range of audio for you to be able to, you know, bring back some things that are clipping or things that were too low in post-production. This almost does it for you on the fly with the auto feature. It's done such a good job for me, at least, that I'm relying on it the same way that I rely on Sony's autofocus, right? Like, I know that it's locked in and that I actually don't have to worry about it being focused on people's faces correctly. So for that reason, I'm kind of like giving you my own personal experience, right? My vote of approval, so to speak, that the auto levels on these microphones are working extremely well, and that might be the only thing. But once it's on auto, this little, you know, dial here is no longer needed. So on auto with the noise cut has actually been really impressive. And now the only other button that I haven't talked about here is this one right up top, right, where it says digital to analog, right? That little switch right there. And that's one that really impressed me. So this is Sony's latest, you know, offering when it comes to, you know, on-camera microphones for their new, you know, cameras, for their new Sony Alpha line that uses the MI or multimedia interface. What I'm most impressed with is that not all of them use this whole digital interface, right? And it still gives you the option for analog. So I'm gonna bring this out a little bit here, right? Scoot that to the side, and I'm gonna show you exactly what we're talking about. Well, you know what? It's gonna be easier without the lenses. So let's go ahead and put those away. Put some body caps on here. All right, that's the first. And the second. Let me know, guys. Do you guys face your lenses face down like that? Or do you put them face up? I would love to know. I always do face down, even when they're mounted onto camera bodies. But I digress. All right, so lenses off to the side. And this is what I'm going to show, right? Both of these cameras here have the infamous, or the famous, multimedia interface port, as you can see. So this is the A7C Mark II. We're to go right ahead and connect this, right? Lock it in, which is also another cool feature. Is it doesn't have like a fully like rotating ring. It basically like lifts, as you can see, and then once you reach a certain amount, it kind of just like locks into place. It's locked in and there's no more rotation necessary, right? But going back to it, right here, as you can see, we have this little bit of information because we are in the digital setting on the microphone. So it's picking up my microphone sounds, and that's why you see it jumping right there, right? But right here, we're seeing dual channel 48 kilohertz and 16-bit audio. So that's what we're recording directly into this file once we're using it on the newer camera, which is the Sony a7C Mark II. As you can see, that even with the lens is super compact, right? To have everything built in, which is why ever since I got this camera, this microphone's been, you know, like catching my eye. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off, and I'm gonna disconnect it. And now I'm gonna take it to my not new, but really not old Sony a6600, which also has the multimedia interface connection, right? And these are one of the newer cameras, or, you know, like all Sony cameras actually since the NEX6s have had the multimedia interface port, but they've all had different versions of it, right? So this one not having the newest internal technology, right, being processor and so on and so forth, but still a great camera. If I were to connect this here and turn it on to get the same results, what I'm gonna get is this message right here. It says, this accessory is not supported by the device and cannot be used. Please verify the compatibility with this device. So you're like, what? I just bought a new microphone that I can't use with the majority of my Sony cameras, which is the reason why I bought them in the first place. Well, that's where that little switch comes in, because I don't even need to turn off the camera. I can literally just switch it into analog mode and bam, we're in business. This just now works with all of my older Sony cameras because of this amazing little digital to analog switch. They give you that feature. As you can see, the microphone is active and you see it being registered there. So now we're not getting the full-fledged 48 kilohertz, you know, 16-bit, right, audio directly from it, but you're getting all of the features of this noise cancellation, the auto, you know, adjustments, and the multiple pickup patterns between, supercardioid, and the one that I forgot to say right now, that's, you know, with everyone all around. So omnidirectional, right? So you have the 3 different microphone settings there, and now that they're all working with the older, even though they're not old, but older, you know, Sony cameras, and you get to utilize these features. And once again, it's being completely powered up through the multimedia interface port. So you're using the battery and you don't need any other connections, which also frees up, you know, your ports here so that you're not actually like having these little things open, the little doors open, and risking, you know, any damage extra to this camera just because you're using an external microphone. So that's what I'm really loving about it. And now we're going to see if we test out, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect this to the A7C. I'm going to put it on a tripod and connect it directly to the computer so that we are then using the Sony A7C. We're going to be using it as the webcam, but we're also going to be pulling the audio from this microphone through that camera, through the USB, and using it as our webcam for the live stream. And it's all going to be done gloriously and super fast. So we're going to get into it. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and check again with the chat to see if you guys have any questions or comments before I start, you know, messing around with that stuff. So, all right. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Okay, we got Randy in the house. He's saying what's up to everyone. How are you doing, Randy? We got Mulain in the house saying hi, hello, goodbye, see you. So I'm guessing he just stopped in real quick and he's on his way as well. Randy says, face my lenses both ways and my camera bags face down, but on display on my shelf face up. I do place them opposite every month and have a lot of lenses. Hey, you know what? Here's another tip, guys. This is something that you guys might want to do, right? But this also helps with fungus buildup if you have a lot of lenses. Something that might seem counterintuitive, but it's actually, you would just take off all of your lenses, body caps, and, you know, lens caps, right? And even just the way there, right, with the aperture closed, set this out on a windowsill and just let a day of sunlight hit the lens and go through it. just let it do it. And it works really good with vintage lenses as well, right? And what the sunlight does is that it kills the bacteria. It's almost like a microscope, or better said, like a magnifying glass on ants, right? It's just allowing the light to permeate through the lens, and it's actually gonna dry up any, you know, humidity that might be building up inside that could eventually lead to, you know, some fungus building up on your elements on the inside of your lenses. So tip for you, every once in a while, I would say at least every 6 months, put them out on the windowsill and let them get just some natural old good sunshine, and that will prolong the life of your lenses, guaranteed. Nano is in the house. He's saying, hey there, how are you? Travis Vargas Films, welcome. It says cool. It says whoa, not cool. I'm not sure what he's talking about. JP is in the house. What's going on, brother? How are you doing, sir? Love the live streams, love the new setup, love the depth that you're getting in your shots and everything, having a lot of fun. And also, FYI, hopefully you'll be going to NAB, because I should be, no, not let's say should be, I will be going to NAB for the first time this year, and I'm like just super, super excited, because 5 years ago, I would have never thought that what I projected out as something that I wanted to do would have already come to fruition in such a fast amount of time. So if you're going, can't wait to see you there, bro. There's going to be so many people. I think, well, Brandon should be there, and I might not be spoiling some things, but I think there's certain things happening with ECM as well on the backgrounds, but how I don't know, I can't say, but I'm putting my ear to the ground, and it seems like something like that is in the rise. Sly is here saying, hey everyone, hope everyone's weekend is going well. Likewise, I wish you all the best, and I hope everything is going well as well. Good tip. Yes, it is a good tip. Anytime, man. There we go. We got confirmation. So, dude, can't wait to see you there. Dude, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to be able to hang out. You're going to meet my little man. You're going to meet Aiden, Prince Aiden. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be, I don't fly. So, FYI, guys, I'm going to be doing a road trip all the way to Las Vegas. And I already looked into it. It's going to be like 5 days of driving each way. So I am going to add an extra day just for contingency purposes. I don't know how the traffic is going to be, but it's something that I'm like super excited to take on this road trip. Another person that I know that I'm going to be like super excited to meet finally in person as well is Tom Buck, right? Tommy Bizzle. Because there's no way that I'm either like gonna be that close to California and not meet up with this dude. Either he's gonna be there, and if not, I'll make sure to extend my trip a little bit further to go visit him before I start heading back to the East Coast. So that is for sure. So it looks like I'm gonna be spending at least 12 days on the road, plus the time at NAB, which I also tend to give myself a little 10% extra time. Like I just finished Podfest, and when everybody left Sunday, I left Monday to make it even that much smoother and easier for me and my trek with Aiden. So Aiden and I'm just super, super excited. Like you can see it on my face, right? Because like NAB, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the day, right? And now the day is coming up, and I'm just super excited. That, and hopefully more things to come in the future when it comes to events, like in-person events and things like that. So that is locked in. So for sure, I already did Podfest. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing Podcast Summit in July. I'm going to try to see if that's still running around that same time frame. But then also we got NAB and Creator Camp that's going to be in October following up there. So that's all on the docket for 2025, and I'm super excited. It says, LOL, I was following along when you were talking about the mic. Nice to know that's somewhat backwards compatible. Okay, yeah, so that's what I figured, you know, to make sure that is like, oh, not good. I'm like, what was not good? No, it would have been really not good if we couldn't use this microphone with older cameras, but so far so good. Even on the one that you're seeing right now, which is my A7R Mark II, right? That one still is compatible with this analog switch. So makes all the difference in the world. Okay, we got a question here. What is the Vision Pro I see in the camera frame? That's exactly what it is. I don't know if you knew that I had one, but yes, that is my Vision Pro. And if you can see in this shot right over here, that back there, Nano. Oh, I'm trying to get this out. That is my 3D printer. And a lot of the accessories, signage, and things that have gone on in the background over here were created by this amazing little machine. It's the Bamboo Lab A1 Mini, and mine is called R3D2, right? R3D. So with that, I'm now going to show you once again this, which is my Vision Pro. The reason why is because I did make a modification to it, right? And that modification was something that I found on the Maker World page for 3D printing. And what it is the Vision, what is it? The Meta Quest. The Meta Quest style support. So even though this comes with the mask, right, that looks cool. What just happened to the audio? Oh, I lost my audio. Give me a second. You guys still hear me, but I can't hear the music, so I gotta go analog. Old school. All right. And for those of you who are watching and might see me the first time, I always say upgrade your skills before your gear. One of these skills that I've done is that even though you see me with AirPods, I'm not using AirPods in the traditional sense. I'm using them as extended wireless or, wireless headphones. So my headphone setup that you're seeing right here, right? This is just an old school cable. I have these AirPods. They're connected only, not to any of my Apple devices, so they're not connected to anything. And the reason why is because whenever I go to use them, I make sure that they actually don't hop onto any of my other devices using iCloud. So there's no iCloud account connected to those AirPods. And the only thing that they're connected to is this wireless transmitter right here. So this wireless transmitter is basically just the cable from these headphones or these AirPods to whatever I connect it to. So I have my physical connection here and I plug that in, and then I use my AirPods as a wireless extension. But that's it. Because you don't want to be using it for a live stream production, it might pick up the microphones when you have a higher quality microphone. It might pick up like a random text message. So if you were interviewing somebody and listening to them, and then it jumps to a message over here, you lost the conversation and you're out of the loop when it comes to that aspect. So that's why I don't recommend it. Always use cabled. And once my AirPods died, well, actually they didn't die. What died was the transmitter, which I need to put to charge, which is a good reminder, right? Put it to charge. Bam. Right now that's charging, it'll be ready for the next time I go ahead and use it. But once again, I'm back to now my standard cable, and that's enough of that. I've learned to explain myself as I'm doing these things. But as I go back to the Vision Pro, instead of having the old school, or the way that Apple made it, right, that it's directly on your face, is not that it's bothersome, right, because it doesn't bother me at all. What it actually does is that it what's the best way to put it? This is a lot more convenient, and these actually turned the Vision Pro away from a kind of like a virtual reality, and they made it more into an augmented reality glasses, right? So the vision, right, for Vision Pro and for all of these devices is to make it more like just a pair of glasses that you can put on. And with this 3D printed upgrade, right, so I just got a foam pad and everything like that. If I were to put it on to demonstrate, what it does here is you can see it's keeping it away from my face. So before, every time whenever I would wear my Vision Pro, it would leave a mark directly around my eyes, right? And if I were to just take this off right away, you would see that mark. So if I was doing something online or I was speaking to someone, I would take it, you would see that pressed mark on it. And with this, as you can see, it's been a lot more convenient. The other thing that the Vision Pro, the regular setup that's not this Meta Quest style like this and keeping separation, is my peripheral vision, right? So all of this was normally like closed off, right, to keep the light seal. And the light seal is something that you might want to use if you're going to be using the Vision Pro outdoors, right? Because outdoors, you're going to get a lot more of the light leakage coming in, right? And it will make whatever you're seeing on the display that much darker. If you compare them to basically just saying like they're a pair of sunglasses, right? When you're wearing them outside, that everything that's coming in through here is just a shade darker, then you're in the same ballpark, right? But if you want to keep everything the same, then that's why I say you might want to have the light seal. But what this does is that, once again, it allows my peripheral vision. So the peripheral vision is actually one of the things that most people, how can I explain? Most people would complain. Actually, I just turned it on, so put in my password to make it easier. Boom. Okay. So the thing that causing most people is like their loss of equilibrium, right? Like they feel like that they're gonna like losing their place in reality, and that's because you're kind of being blocked off constantly. And with this setup, it allows for your natural, like I can see my hand underneath the Vision Pro, which normally wouldn't happen, right? So for that instance, that's why I feel that this has just been like just the best mod that I got. Another thing is that I play a couple of the games that I start sweating, and you start sweating around your eyes. This allows for better airflow and allows me to play for longer because I don't feel like I have to take the Vision Pro off because I started to break into a little bit of a sweat. But it's just been super convenient. And the last thing is that it's just been the easiest to like take on and off, right? So let's say I was using it and then I wanted to just have a conversation, right? And we go to the front facing camera now, right? I can just like rock these on the top of my head. And as you can see, I don't have this pressing like mark on my face of me just wearing them. So they literally become a lot more like, you know, like glasses, because it allows me to see my peripheral vision, right? So everything that happens underneath, if I'm looking at Aiden, right, I don't really need to take the Vision Pro off whatsoever, but it still gives me like complete vision of what I'm doing within the system and also outside of it. So it's really like a pair of Tony Stark glasses, and I'm loving every second of it. Like there's so many things that I do with my Vision Pro, which I'm gonna go into a quick soliloquy about, right? As soon as I put them on, I have connections to like all my setups over here. So I'm running everything virtually through it. So whether I want to connect to my my Windows PC, whether I want to connect to my PlayStation 4, whether I want to connect to a variety of different things, like all of my computers. So any of these machines, whether it's my Mac Studio, my Mac Mini over here, my MacBook Air, right? Because that's also another amazing feature of the, you know, the Vision Pro, which is it gives me a direct link to all of these machines. So I was just at Podfest, like I mentioned, and what I actually did was I brought my MacBook Air, and let me show you, because it's the smallest, thinnest M1 version of it. That's a mess. I just made a mess on accident, but I'll clean it up a second. So this is my MacBook Air M1, 8 gigabytes, 256 RAM, super basic, right? But amazing battery life. And when it comes to travel, was amazing. So I'm able to run Final Cut Pro here, but I'm not limited to this small little screen when I'm on the road. I take this and my Vision Pro, and then this just sits directly on my desk at the hotel. And when I put on the Vision Pro, a little icon pops up on top of my computer and says connect. As soon as I connect to it, I have whatever size, I have whatever size screen that I want. I also have another application called Screen Split or Split Screen, which would make more sense. It sounds better. Split screen, which actually gives me a secondary display. So my Vision Pro turns into two like gigantic, as big as I want them, displays, so that I can run my dual monitor setup on any of my programs, more importantly Final Cut Pro. So while I'm on the road, I'm still able to edit my podcasts to my heart's content, and I'm able to do it from anywhere, in this case the hotel room. And I have like a full-fledged setup with dual monitors and of the highest quality possible. And then my entertainment is also built into it. So within my MacBook Air and my Vision Pro, I pretty much got everything that I need in just that package. Now the cool part about it is that, let's say I wanted an upgrade in, you know, like in processing speed, because the MacBook Air just isn't cutting it. Well, then all I would need to do is just upgrade my computer, right? I just get a newer, faster, better computer, and now I'm using a MacBook Pro M4 with the greatest processor and all the RAM. And now the same way that that one flipped open and I had the dual monitors, I would have it the same way on the new computer, just the same way. I have all the added benefits of the processing power, because of that's the machine that I'm connected to, and still using it directly with the Vision Pro. And once I'm done with work, I just, using the same system, turn on my favorite game, which is Synth Riders. It's a, what's the game? Beat Saber style game, but it's Apple's version of it, and they use a lot of like popular songs that you'd be familiar with. So there's songs from Gorillaz, there's songs from, you know, like 80s steampunk, so many, like there's so many genres. There's an entire like list of Lindsey Sterling songs that I absolutely love, you know, the violinist. So many. Bruno Mars, I believe, and I could be incorrect, but I believe I saw an email from Apple saying that Kendrick Lamar's songs are actually going to be implemented soon onto that game, into Synth Riders for the Vision Pro. So it's just like, you know, the latest and greatest tracks are being implemented, and not only do you get to enjoy the music, but you also get to like play the music, so to speak, right? You're playing the game. It is like a synthetic new age roller coaster mixed in with Pac-Man and, you know, like Doctor Strange powers, all while you're enjoying like high quality music. That's it in a nutshell. In a Beat Saber type style game, that's Synth Riders in a nutshell. I don't know if that made sense to anybody, but that's what I absolutely love. So Vision Pro, that's actually, you know, I did it impromptu, but that's what I was going to talk about next week, right? 1 year with the Vision Pro, and maybe demonstrate to you guys a little bit what I'm talking about with that game. Now, to give you a little context, how I have to demonstrate that to you guys is I would actually have to broadcast, right, what I'm doing on the Vision Pro to my MacBook Air, right? And once it's displaying it, then I'll be able to take that transmission and share it with you guys. So that's the plan for next week, right? So if you want, make sure to hang out here, because I'll be talking a little bit more there. Now, I said I was going to test out this microphone on the fly, and I still want to do that. So I'm going to get right to it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reverse what I just did, and I'm going to reconnect this lens too, and I put it onto the wrong camera. Right. I put it on the A6600 when I want it on the A7C Mark II. Here's a trick, guys. If you're ever changing lenses, another tip, right? Always face your cameras down, because it's almost impossible for dust to fly upwards. So as dust is falling, you don't want it on your sensor. Always keep your sensor face down when mounting new lenses, especially when you're out in the field. That will save you a whole heck of a lot of problems and lens cleanings galore. All right, so now that we have that there, gonna go ahead and connect the microphone to it. Because this one's made for it, we're gonna switch to the digital. So we're using the 48 kilohertz 16-bit dual channel audio, right? Let's see if we can see what we're doing here. I'm just connecting my makeshift tripod. See, this is why I needed the wireless headphones. I'm already yanking on the... You see it falling because of the weight? Stop moving. You're seeing the wheels turn in my head as we speak. Let's see how I can prop this. Okay. Right. Give you guys a better view of what's going on. This is where I'm able to mount the camera. Audio's on. Okay, audio's on. Let's widen this out just a bit. Yep. Impressive, Lonzy. So that's there. I'm going to switch the microphone closer to it. Okay. All on the fly, baby. All right. So now we're just taking my USB cable, plugging it directly to the Mac Studio. And FYI, this is a high-speed 240 watts, 40 megabit per second cable. So for that reason, it's going to give me the highest quality directly. And on this camera, it's actually 4K 30 directly from... There we go. Live. Okay. Streaming. So now that we've connected this camera, we are now able to throw it up directly onto an ECM. So I just want to make sure that I'm seeing it. Where's my mouse cursor? Sources. Okay, yes, it's on and it's really bright. So let's bring down the brightness. Okay. Now I'm just going to create a new scene or go to my production scene. Where's my producer scene? There we go. And I'm just going to grab my camera feed. Ooh. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. So now this is the Sony A7C Mark II. We're still using the microphone here, but I'm about to switch that up. Okay, so this is coming directly from the camera. And once again, like I said, this is 4K 30. And this is straight out of the camera, really nothing done using ECM. All right, let me bring my mouse over here. Squeeze this so I can see it a bit better. Okay, and what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna change the audio source. I'm gonna change the audio source from my Rodecaster Pro to the microphone directly on top of this camera. The reason why is because it's part of the system. So the same way that the USB-C is getting information or being transmitted information to the computer, it's bringing that audio, the high quality audio that we're getting directly from this setup into the system. And Ecamm is so amazing that it allows you to see both the video source and the audio source as separate things. So even if you weren't using this camera hypothetically as your main camera, right, let's say you had something better, then at the same time you can still pull the audio from it just as a microphone, because you're connected to the entirety of the system. Okay, so with that, let me go ahead and switch these settings over here. Okay, so right now I'm switching over to that microphone in 3, 2. Okay, so right now you should be hearing me directly coming from the Sony a7C Mark II. Now, if I'm correct, just double checking. Yep. Right now we're using its most like front-facing pickup pattern, and to give you that demonstration, I'm gonna go ahead and switch scenes again, right? And I'm gonna move my microphone away from me. What happened to the music? Oh, it was just switching songs. It froze me, guys. I was like, what happened? Like, why am I not hearing audio again? Okay, but as you can see, we're still getting the audio from this microphone here. So no matter which camera I decide to choose, this is my audio source. So I'm gonna go back to it. Okay, and this is the producer view. So now this is audio and video coming directly from the A7C Mark II. Aiden? Okay. Second. Aiden's asking me for snacks. Well, not snacks, just some fruit snacks, so to speak. What he likes are these freeze-dried apples. Freeze-dried Fuji apples. Yep, those are his favorites. Here you go. And he doesn't care. He's just gonna do it whenever he does it. So once again, this is a simple connection and allowing you to see, like, this is where I really emphasize the upgrade your skills before your gear. Why? Because of the fact that my understanding for photography, video, and audio, right, allow me to get the most out of this. So because I have the understanding, and I hope that I'm able to convey some of this understanding over to you, then you're able to grab a high piece of, or let me say that correctly, you're able to grab a piece of equipment, high quality equipment like this, right? Get yourself a nice G lens, a nice camera body, and a nice microphone, and this could be your go-to everything setup, right? Not only can it get high quality 10-bit video and 16-bit audio recording directly into your files for post-production, but if you're using something like Ecamm to go live, right, and you're using this to create the content, you're able to get everything out of this. So the same way that I'm doing this on the Mac Studio, it will work just the same way if I were using my MacBook Air, right? Depending on what hardware you have is your limitations, but once you understand what those strengths and limitations are, then you'll be able to get the most out of whatever piece of equipment that you have. And the MacBook Air, with a nice setup like I'm demonstrating here, can get you a quality of image and audio like this pretty much anywhere, which I am then going to be demonstrating as well, seeming that I want to, and this is just speaking it into existence, but I want to take Ecamm on the road, so to speak. I want to, use it with some battery backups and things like that, and connect a high quality camera like this, just pretty much on the fly anywhere. And if things work out well, I will be doing it like from a park, right? Because the idea is to get high quality internet, right? To be able to utilize this as a mobile system pretty much anywhere that we go. Now, there's been a variety of different mobile boxes and things like that that are available to a variety of, or to a lot of us content creators. And you know what? This bring the light over here to get better lighting in this shot, right? So with that in mind, this is something that I've come across, and I'm just going to show you real quick. I'm stuck because of the audio. This is something that I'm looking into. So this is T-Mobile's internet box. So this runs off a cellular data network. So it runs off of 5G, but it's basically a prepaid wireless hotspot for your home. So this could basically replace your everyday home internet. And what I'm going to be using it for is my backup. So as I produce more and more podcasts and content live on YouTube, I want to make sure that I have a high quality internet used with Speedify to actually like link those internets, right? The internet connections from the different service providers. In case one were to go down, it will still pick up right away. So this is what I'm going to be using with that. I've been testing it out and getting pretty good speeds with it. I've been impressed with it for the systems, and I'm going to be looking into this as a backup, but also be my mobile system. So this box might be the only added part to my mix, right? We're saying something as simple as a MacBook Air and a camera setup like this. Something like this will give you the ability to go live using Ecamm and broadcast to YouTube from basically anywhere, the middle of a park, a live event, anything whatsoever. You'll be able to have the power of Ecamm, high quality camera and audio, and with good internet, basically you can do it from anywhere. So these are all the little pieces that we're putting together to try, well, that I'm trying to show the power of, you know, like the knowing what to do, you know, the going back to, you know, upgrading your skills. And once you have that in your arsenal, then the rest becomes a lot easier, because you're just kind of making the most out of whichever piece of equipment you have, right? Because I'll be able to do this the same with my FX30 and the same with the with the Sony ZV-1F, right, which is the smallest entry-level Sony camera. So once you have the skills in your belt, then the camera of choice and things like that kind of becomes secondary, because you'll be able to get the best image and audio from any piece of equipment that you have. So there you have it. That has been a demonstration directly for the BC. No, listen, I'm correcting myself. So this is the audio coming directly from the Sony a7C Mark II and Sony's microphone built in, the ECM-B10. So, yep. No, not B110, B10, B10. And think about it. Weren't the B10s like the old school, like Mazda pickup trucks? Let me know in chat if you guys remember that. If I remember correctly, the Mazda B10s were very famous pickup trucks that sold like hotcakes back in the day. So if you had a Mazda pickup truck, it was either a B10, if not a B20. But there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration and, you know, showcase of the ECM-B10. And now I'm going to go back to the regular audio, to the regular video to close things out for tonight. So let's go back to it. All right. Testing, testing. Okay, we should be good now. Right, and let's get back to it. We got thumbs up in the chat. Randy has a question. Does any of the firmware updates on your Apple Vision Pro? Mine is up to date, but just to answer that, it's like at 2.2 right now. There's been a lot of dramatic updates. One of the biggest updates with the Vision Pro was like its precision when just using like standard Safari. So I think Safari was basically the hardest app for me to use, because everything is like clickable on a web page, right? So let's say I was using YouTube, and like the title of a video plus the icon or the thumbnail of the video, like everything is a redirect to that. And a lot of times I was just watching the Vision Pro and I would grab a chip from the bag, and as soon as I did this to the chip, it was a click and it would just send me to another video because I wanted another chip. So I then started eating my potato chips with my middle finger, right? So that it wouldn't get used to it. But now it's a lot better to the point where the precision is really good. And I'm able to like pinpoint on the smallest of Xboxes when it comes to like advertisements or anything or pop-ups to just quickly remove them. And the speed of it has also improved because of it. Because of the precision updates, I'm no longer taking longer to actually navigate. I'm doing it a lot faster, which sounds pretty like strange, but believe it or not, I'm actually navigating through the Vision Pro using my finger click like this a lot faster than I would with a mouse, because like so many times you see me here on the live stream, I'm like looking for my mouse cursor because I want to click on something in this window, but I don't know where my cursor is. So I'm like swiggling around, right, until I find it. And once I do, then I'm able to then direct the mouse cursor to the Xbox or anything that I want to either remove, add, so on and so forth. With the Vision Pro, I'm looking at it right away. So as soon as I look at the box, I'm like X, 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 move, next page, so on and so forth. So it's very interesting. And for something that I'm going to be doing after this live stream, which is watching the UFC Saudi Arabia card that I have to watch on replay because it happened in their nighttime, which was our noon or midday. So all the fights already happened, and I've been trying to keep myself away from any updates so that I don't get any spoilers on the fights. So once I'm done with the live stream, I'll throw that on there, lay down in my bed, and literally just start navigating through all the fights very quickly and easily using the Vision Pro. Okay, so Randy's saying he's liking the mic. I'm really liking the mic. It says excellent presentation. Thank you. And it looks like that's all we have for tonight, but almost all that we have. Once again, guys, if you're still here, please be sure to hit the like button. It's highly appreciated. But before we go, we got to do the thing, okay, which is Cities Got channels that I think you should go and watch. So let's go ahead and pull up tonight's Cities Got. There we are. If I do this and then this, right? There we are. Bam. So this is Chem Style or Chem Style Bossy, right? And that is his YouTube channel. Now, like I said, YouTube has changed recently, so I've been being presented with a lot more content creators with not such huge followings, which is ideal for this category, Cities Got channels that I think you should go and watch. So this is a new content creator which I've recently subscribed to myself, Chem Style, right? Chem Style Bossy. As you can see, he's at 1.5k subscribers, 83 videos. But if you look at just what his content's about, he is an honorary camera junkie. He's doing basically the same things. Sony shooter, as you can see, FX30 gang, right? But what he's doing is that he's just tackling it from all the different aspects, whether it's bags, wireless microphones, you know, updates, lenses, you know, tips to shooting in low light, like we can see here with the FX30, right? Setups, a variety of different things. It's a new content creator. I'm liking his style, and I'm definitely liking his content, thus being a camera junkie just the same. So this week's Cities Got channels that I think you should go and watch if you haven't heard of him already: Chem Style Bossy. This week's Cities Got channels that I think you should go and watch. Bam. And we did it. And if you're still here, thank you as always for rocking with me. This was episode 118. So we did it, guys. Episode 118 is in the books. And you were saying 118, actually 218. Listen, I'm messing up my own thing, right? Yeah, 218 episodes. 218 episodes over 4 years consecutive of the Camera Junkie live stream. And the reason why we keep counts and numbers this way is because it's 800. No, listen, 800. All the numbers are mixed up on me right now. 218 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream. So let me try to get that out again. If you're wondering why we keep count, 218 is the amount of weeks that we've been doing the Camera Junkie live stream consecutively, week in, week out, without skipping a beat. That is over 4 years of the Camera Junkie live stream happening every single Saturday. So if it's your first time here, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and mark down on your calendar 9:30 p.m. so that you're always ready for 10 o'clock Saturdays on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. We'll be doing this live, and next week I'll probably have a little bit better demonstration of the Vision Pro, because it's what I wanted to talk about, a year of living like Tony Stark, so to speak, and I've absolutely loved every second of it. It works ideally for my situation and my setup, and that's what I absolutely love. Another thing, just to give you a little tidbit, I brought it with me for the pod fest, right? And I was just using it in the lobby and recording, and people think that it was just like standoffish. I'm like, no, it's just like a pair of glasses. I can see through it and I can see you, and I would have conversations, and it wasn't, you know, as standoffish as you might believe. I was able to have the conversation with a lot of people very easily about what I was doing, and just explaining to them that I was recording, you know, the entire environment like an IMAX 3D movie for my own, you know, like personal you know, library. That's the best way that I can put it. And now we're getting ways to edit these spatial videos, but that's another conversation for another day. So guys, as always, thank you for making this my favorite place to hang out week in and week out, the Camera Junkie live stream. So I expect to see all of your smiling faces right here next week while we do it all over again. So once again, guys, you're the best, you rock, and you make this my favorite place to be week in, week out. And with that being said, everyone, take care of yourselves and each other, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces while we do it all over again right here next week, same time, same place, on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. And with that, I will see you next week. Talk to you.